Good morning and welcome to the daily cyber briefing for Friday, the 21st of March. I'm Stephen Ridgway. There is a critical flaw in Cisco's Smart Licensing utility that is currently under exploitation. The flaw is being tracked as CVE 2024-20439. It dates back to September last year, and patches are available. So if you are using Cisco's Smart Licensing utility and you have not yet patched, be aware that exploits are out there and this vulnerability is being searched for and actively exploited at the moment. There are a handful of other related Cisco vulnerabilities that would be good to update at the same time. Recommendation there is to take a look and update if possible, as soon as possible even. There is also a vulnerability in Veeam, the backup solution. So it's a remote code execution bug that allows domain users to exploit Veeam servers. So patches are available. The vulnerability is tracked as CVE 2025-23120, and it is a vulnerability in the backup and replication software that impacts domain joined installations of Veeam backup and replication. It affects version, if my reading of this is correct, version 12.3.0.301 and any earlier version 12 builds. It's fixed in 12.3.1, which was released yesterday, in fact. Backups are one of the best mitigations to ransomware, and ransomware continues to be some of the most prolific malware out there. Vulnerabilities in, especially in major players such as Veeam, are of concern. So if you are using Veeam, definitely recommend that you have a look at the article and check with Veeam to see that your solution has had patches, all the relevant patches applied. Appreciate that these infrastructure components may not be as straightforward to update as some other parts of your estate. However, that doesn't mean to say that this stuff can be ignored. I think it's very much a mistake to let these things build up. What you want to avoid ending up with is applying multiple tiers of patches on patches in one go. That does lead to, or can, doesn't always, but it can lead to potential for issues, mainly because the vendors tend not to extensively test what happens under those circumstances. They tend to extensively test what happens if you are applying the patches sequentially in a relatively short period of time after the release. So known starting point, basically. And then finally from me today, as you regular listeners will be aware, one of the themes that crops up regularly on this briefing is around quantum cryptography and the challenges that quantum computing brings to cryptography in general, basically being that cryptographic algorithms, which are to all intents and purposes unbreakable now, are rendered defunct by quantum computing, which can, if nothing else, can simply brute force them in a relatively short period of time. one of the things I've been recommending for a while is start your research now, because the advances in quantum cryptography and in quantum computing being used to break pre-quantum cryptography, those advances are progressing rapidly, although they tend to go on in kind of almost academic backwaters of technology. They're not the thing that's in everybody's face, but they are moving fast, and you don't want to be in a position where this stuff suddenly becomes mainstream and you haven't had a chance to plan it out. Bearing in mind, so much of the modern technological world uses cryptography in one form or another. So I would suggest you have a serious think about what you're going to do going forward. Begin to test out some of the current quantum proof or post-quantum cryptographic algorithms. Begin to plan it out. Begin to have a migration plan for all the things that are currently encrypted that will need to be re-encrypted one way or another. Well, there is an article that in Bleeping Computer which refers to recommendations from the UK's National Cybersecurity Centre, NCSC. NCSC has published some specific timelines on migrating to post-quantum cryptography. Critical organisations should aim to complete this migration by 2035. That sounds like that's a long way ahead. Given where we are, if you're not planning now, or beginning to plan, or beginning to look at it now, it will be very difficult to hit that timeline. You've also got to bear in mind that the NCSC, I believe, is being relatively conservative around this. So they're saying you need to get there by 2035. I suspect that if you are leaving it to 2035 and then trying to do it in a rush, you will be in all kinds of a mess. So strong recommendation to begin to have a look at this stuff. NIST, the US government organization, has begun to ratify standards for post-quantum cryptography. At the very least, get it on your risk register, have a think, identify where your encrypted data is, what encryption you have control over the keys, what you haven't, and you're going to be reliant on your vendors. Begin to do some planning out with this. It will make your lives infinitely easier over the next few years if you get ahead of the game. Okay, well, that's all from me for this morning. It's also all from me for this week. So I hope you have a good weekend, and I will speak to you all again on Monday morning.